Nearly 40% of adults over the age of 65 cannot stand up from a chair without using their arms. And this is not normal. In Japan, however, it is common to see people in their 90s and even beyond 100 still walking independently, standing up with ease, and continuing to garden or perform everyday physical work. This contrast is too clear to ignore. So, what creates such a wide gap in how the body ages? The answer lies in a small set of simple physical movements that have quietly remained part of daily life in Japan for decades. These differences are not based on casual observation alone. They have been clearly documented in long-term studies of older adults in Japan. In one large study following more than 3,000 adults between the ages of 60 and 85, researchers observed striking improvements among those who consistently practice simple lower body movements. Within 12 to 18 months, participants increased their leg strength by more than 100% compared to their baseline levels, while their risk of falling dropped by approximately 60 to 70% compared to those who did not maintain these movements. What makes these findings even more compelling is how quickly the changes began to appear. Noticeable improvements in balance and movement control were seen in as little as 8 to 12 weeks, even among individuals who had previously been largely inactive. Further analysis revealed that traditional Japanese daily movements activate muscle fibers in ways that standard Western exercise programs often fail to address, particularly the deep stabilizing muscles of the legs that are essential for balance and functional movement, not just the surface muscles we can see. Exercise number 6 is one of the most common daily movements among older adults in Japan. Many seniors perform it naturally while cooking, waiting for the train, or standing at the sink, often without realizing they are exercising at all. It is simply part of how they move through their day. This movement is called heel raising, and while it may look simple, it plays a critical role in leg strength after the age of 60. The calf muscles are often referred to as the body's second heart because they help pump blood from the legs back toward the heart. As these muscles weaken with age, circulation slows down, balance becomes less stable, and leg strength declines faster than most people expect. In a clinical study conducted by researchers at the University of Tokyo, adults over the age of 65 who performed daily heel raises for 12 weeks increased calf muscle strength by an average of 34%, improved ankle stability by nearly 28%, and showed a 19% increase in walking speed, a measurement now widely used by doctors as a key indicator of long-term independence in older adults. To perform this exercise safely, stand facing a wall or another sturdy surface and place your hands lightly in front of you for balance. Keep your feet about hip-width apart. Slowly lift your heels until you are standing on the balls of your feet. Pause briefly at the top, then lower your heels back down slowly and with control. The key is control. You are actively resisting gravity as you come down, which places more demand on the muscles. Japanese physical therapists typically recommend about 20 repetitions repeated 2 to 3 times throughout the day. The hips are the central link between the upper body and the legs. Every step you take, every time you sit down or stand up, and every time you change direction while walking, the movement passes through the hip joints first. If the hips are stiff or weak, the knees and lower back are forced to absorb extra stress, which often leads to pain, instability, or loss of balance. Many Western exercise programs focus mainly on large surface muscles such as the thighs and glutes. What they often miss are the deep, stabilizing muscles around the hip joint, including those that support the pelvis and the inner thigh muscles that guide leg movement. The sumo stance hip circle is designed to activate these muscles in a controlled way. Research from the University of Tsukuba in Japan followed adults over 60 who practiced wide stance hip movements for 10 weeks and reported a 41% improvement in hip stability and a 37% increase in inner thigh strength, along with reduced knee discomfort during daily activities. To perform this exercise, stand with your feet wider than shoulder width apart and turn your toes slightly outward. Bend your knees just enough to feel stable and place your hands on your thighs for support. From this position, slowly move your hips in a circular motion, keeping the movement smooth and controlled. Make 10 circles in one direction, then reverse and make 10 circles in the opposite direction. The goal is not speed, but control. Start with smaller circles and gradually increase the range as your hips become stronger and more stable. The quadriceps, the large muscle group on the front of the thighs, play a direct role in everyday movements such as standing up from a chair, climbing stairs, and controlling the knees while walking. As we age, these muscles tend to weaken faster than many other muscles in the lower body. When quadriceps strength declines, simple tasks like getting out of a chair or going upstairs begin to feel much harder and less stable. One reason this exercise is so effective is that it strengthens the quadriceps without placing excessive stress on the knee joints. Research conducted at Hokkaido University in Japan followed adults over the age of 65 who practiced seated leg extensions for 6 months. The study found a 53% increase in quadriceps strength, a 44% improvement in the ability to rise from a chair, and a 39% improvement in stair climbing speed. To perform this exercise, sit upright in a sturdy chair with your back supported and your feet flat on the floor, knees bent at about a 90-degree angle. Slowly extend one leg forward until it is straight, hold briefly, then lower it back down with control. Repeat with the other leg. Start with 10 repetitions on each leg and gradually work up to 20. Once the movement feels comfortable, you can add light ankle weights as long as it stays controlled and pain-free. This movement is often misunderstood, especially among older adults, because many people have been told to avoid squatting altogether. In Japan, squatting remains part of everyday life. People squat to garden, to pick things up from the floor, and to move between sitting and standing without using furniture. Over time, this keeps the muscles, joints, and connective tissues of the lower body strong and flexible. Research from the National Institute of Health and Nutrition in Japan compared older adults who regularly practiced squatting movements with those who avoided them. The group who squatted showed a 68% greater improvement in overall leg strength and a 45% improvement in balance scores, while also maintaining significantly better hip flexibility. The key is performing a modified version that protects the joints. Stand with your feet about shoulder width apart near a sturdy chair or railing for support. Slowly bend your knees and push your hips back as if sitting down, lowering only as far as feels comfortable and pain-free. Hold briefly, then push through your heels to return to standing. Start with 5 repetitions and add 1 additional repetition each week as your strength improves. At first glance, this exercise looks almost too simple, but in reality, it activates more than 200 muscles across the lower body at the same time. Balance training is essential for leg strength after the age of 60 because muscles are controlled by the brain through neural pathways. When you challenge your balance, you force the brain to recruit more muscle fibers to keep you stable. A study from Tohoku University found that balance training produced a 47% greater improvement in functional leg strength compared to standard strength training, even though no weights were lifted. The same study found that practicing single leg standing reduced the risk of falls by 73%. To practice this exercise safely, stand near a wall or sturdy piece of furniture. Shift your weight onto one leg and slowly lift the other foot just 1 to 2 inches off the ground. The goal is to maintain balance for as long as possible. With consistent practice, many people can work up to 30 seconds or even 1 minute on each leg. Japanese seniors often practice this during daily routines such as brushing their teeth or waiting for water to boil. Research from Chiba University showed that practicing 3 times per day for 30 seconds each is more effective than one long session. To increase the challenge, try closing your eyes. A study from Kyushu University found that eyes closed balance practice increased muscle activation by 58% compared to eyes open practice. This is considered the most important movement for maintaining independence as we age. Nearly every essential daily activity begins or ends with this motion. Standing up from a chair, sitting down safely, getting out of bed, using the bathroom, and rising from a low surface all depend on this ability. When this movement becomes difficult, independence is usually the first thing to decline. Research from the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology studied adults over the age of 65 performing regular sit-to-stand training for 8 weeks. The study showed a 62% improvement in lower body functional strength and a 50% improvement in walking independence. To perform this exercise, sit toward the front edge of a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor and hip width apart. Lean slightly forward from the hips, then press through your heels to stand up. Once standing, pause briefly, then slowly lower yourself back down with control. The most important part is the lowering phase. Resisting gravity as you sit down builds strength and control more effectively than standing up alone. Do this exercise twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. Start with a number of repetitions that feels comfortable, then add 2 more each week until you reach 30 repetitions per session. A study from Juntendo University found that 30 repetitions performed twice daily is the optimal threshold for maximum benefit. Doing more did not lead to additional improvements but did increase fatigue and muscle soreness. Once 30 repetitions feel easy, you can safely increase the challenge by holding light weights against your chest or by using a lower chair. Research from Osaka Medical College showed that lowering the chair height by just 4 inches increased muscle activation by 33%. However, only progress to a lower chair after you can comfortably complete 30 repetitions on a standard height chair. A study from Tokai University also found that performing sit-to-stand immediately after waking up led to the greatest improvements in daily functional ability, as activating the leg muscles first thing in the morning helps establish better movement patterns that carry through the entire day. There you have 6 simple exercises that Japanese seniors have used for generations to maintain and even double their leg strength after 60, from basic heel raises that improve circulation to the powerful sit-to-stand movement proven to strengthen the legs and support independence as we age. These movements are simple, science-backed, and accessible. You do not need a gym, expensive equipment, or hours of training. Research shows this full routine takes about 18 minutes a day, yet can significantly reduce fall risk and help maintain independence. Start tomorrow morning with exercise number 6. Practice it for 1 week, then gradually add the others until you are performing all 6 regularly. Your future self will thank you for every single repetition.